Is it some sort of hat?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Never Explained, the science comedy panel show that comes direct from our houses with their very complicated set of radiators that they all have to your houses where you live and you watch things, and it's very exciting. My name is Steve Cross. I'll be your host for today's wonderful show, and joining me to score these teams will be the absolutely irrepressible, the incomparable Jones. The scores. Jones, have you got any advice for our teams today?
I think play fair, say funny things, and speak when there's silence.
Excellent advice. What a professional Jones is. It's a pity that as the scorer she can't actually play. So the rules of Never Explained, for those of you who've never tuned in before, is this is a science comedy panel show that goes where other science comedy panel shows daren't, i.e. it actually has some jokes in it. And I'll be asking each of our wonderful competitors a series of questions, and every time they say an answer that makes me laugh or would make me laugh if I had what you humans call emotions, you'll hear this noise. And that noise, that means that they've scored a point. And today, instead of using some electronic jiggery-pokery MP3 nonsense, I'm just tapping a glass with a drumstick. And I have rigged up a special microphone for the glass because I thought it's as important as I am. We need to hear all those points going through.
Tell the mic fans what the mic is, Steve.
Well, there's an AKG C418, which many of you know, beautiful little clip-on, really clever. For the glass, I'm of course using an Electro Voice RE27ND as usual. I predict of everyone watching, Ian Bokit will have got those references. So we have two wonderful teams of players joining us today, and each of them represents an organisation. One of the new rules of Never Explain is that we keep track of all the scores, we track all the organisations, we get lots of teams from different organisations, because I want to find out what is the single funniest science organisation in Britain. So our first team are representing their podcast. Their podcast is called Planet Disgusting. Planet, our disgusting face, the planet of disgusting, our disgusting people. I don't know. Is it our disgusting planet? That's it. There's a lot of science podcasts. I don't know if you will know
also, this. It's such a great podcast that we completely bypassed the podcast step and we're just a live show.
You're just a virtual partnership. Anyway, so the person who just talked to you is Belle. Belle, hello, welcome. Can you tell everybody who you are and what your science and comedy credentials are?
Oh, I can try. So my name is Belle Taylor. I'm a chemist by training, so that's my sciencey credential. But these days I do communication and engagement at a university maths department, which is my comedy credential. Anyway, I've just moved up to Edinburgh and I've spent lockdown marveling in how much hair one human is able to distribute around the house. But in terms of comedy, both Charlotte and I co-host Our Disgusting Planet, which is a live show that aims to bust taboos and normalize the disgusting through comedy, basically. And our fave stories involve poos and bums and moon cups. So if anyone's got any pictures, send them.
Brilliant. And Belle, I just want to ask the question that's on everybody's minds. Is your flat entirely made of doors?
I'm in a corner, which is 3 doors. 1, 2, 3. Because
but then they stop. There aren't loads more out of shot going right round the hole. You don't live in like a weird...
This room is just surrounded by doors. It's a lucky guess every time.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, and joining Belle on Team Our Disgusting Planet is Charlotte. Charlotte, do you want to tell everybody who you are and what your science and comedy credentials are?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So my name is Charlotte Mykura, and if you've got an itchy bumhole, it might be hemorrhoids. So I'm a scientist.
What else might it be?
It could be lots of things. You might have got some bum worms, which I'm sure we've all had before. Top tip, if you're around people with bum worms, then don't touch your own anus and feces and then lick your fingers.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a scientist of the genetics sort, but genetics didn't really contain enough like scrotal cheese and fungal throats and unknown sources of hair for me. So I've gone back to school. And I'm retraining as a medical doctor. So that's me, Charlotte Mykura, examining a bumhole near or on you from summer 2022.
Wow. Are you gonna be a bum doctor when you finish? Is that gonna be your specialty?
Oh, that's the way it's going at the moment. I love the whole of the gut. It's just the most beautiful, incredible place.
That's very on brand for you.
Anything could happen. I don't know.
So
And
it's very exciting. Can I have a big round of applause, even in your own houses, even if you're on your own, for Team Our Disgusting Planet? I mean, what's very exciting is that in a couple of years, Charlotte will actually be eligible to play for our other team tonight. She'll be getting a big name transfer if she wants one, because our other team is Team NHS. And I'm going to get Kip to introduce themselves first. Kip, can you tell everybody who you are and what are your science and comedy credentials?
So my name is Kip Heath, and I have 5 jobs. So I won't bore everybody with the whole collection or the fact I'm incapable of saying no to employment. But I am a healthcare scientist in the NHS, and I specialize in virology and immunology, which has made me somewhat in demand during a pandemic, which is a good thing, I think. But in my day job, I am deputy lead scientist for a hospital in London. And I occasionally pretend to be funny.
I know the rest of you thought you were
Ebola.
relevant, you know? We all, like, this is Kip's world now. The rest of us are just wandering around lost in it. Kip's the sort of person that will unfollow you, not for sharing conspiracy theories, but just for sharing slightly inaccurate analyses of actual scientific data on Facebook. Amazing, right? And accompanying Kip, our final player on Team NHS, Matt, can you tell everybody who you are and what your science and comedy and medicine credentials are?
Yeah, so I'm Matt Hutchinson. I am a medical doctor, so very much the ghost of Christmas future for Charlotte, saying you've made a terrible mistake.
I mean, look what's going to happen to your hair for a start, Charlotte.
You might just about be able to afford a stand-up radiator, and that's basically the peak of a medical career. I'm a rheumatology doctor, which is, as everyone knows, the least sexy branch of medicine because no one knows what it is. But I also, back when such a thing existed, was a stand-up comedian.
Wow. And what is a rheumatology doctor for people like me who are like, it's not sexy, but also I don't know what it is?
Inflammation.
Nice. I think that's
Very
great.
good. And where do you stand on the theory that depression is largely an inflammatory condition?
I believe that there is a role, and it would suit me very much if it were, because obviously then, that would make my job far more. Exactly, yeah. So, for the sake of my career, let's hope so.
Brilliant. Right. There's jokes happening in the thread. I wanted to ask all the medical people, right, because we're about to move into, you have to wear a mask every time you go in a shop, apart from apparently Pret. And I've got my mask, because I think now this is the new thing, right? This is the accessory you have to get right, is your mask. And I've got a whole bunch of different ones, but I just wanted to share my favorite mask that I have got so far. And it is this. I won't actually strap it to my head because that takes a couple of minutes. It's this.
Can you not wear glasses at the same time? No, I see that.
That is very.
I can wear glasses with it, but
don't they steam up, Steve? Because mine, I have to wear contacts. All mine.
You just spit on them like you do with goggles in the swimming pool. Like,
no, don't do any of that. You just. This is what it looks like. I'll do it.
Wow.
So this is what I'm going to wear to like go. Oh, I've got it upside down. This is what I'm going to wear to go to Sainsbury's and things like that. So people think that it's just got much worse outside.
Very shredder.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looks like something from Robot Wars.
Yeah, Robot Wars. Matilda.
Shredder's from Ninja Turtles. Come on.
Exactly.
From Our Disgusting Planet.
Sounded like a Robot Wars name.
Anyway,
a gentleman and didn't correct me.
When I go to Sainsbury's, just to see whether they're like, no, actually, you can take the mask off. Just you, no one else.
Yeah. The psychological damage is far worse than the coronavirus.
Right, shall we crack on with this nonsense that we're doing? So there's a bunch of rounds. We're going to start the rounds. After each round, we'll go to Jones for the scores and any advice or thoughts she wants to give us. She's very much a 360-degree scorer in that she could play the game better than any of you. So the first question, teams, and I think this suits all of you as an opening question, is going to be, what is the most disgusting science/medical thing you have ever personally seen? And I'm going to open it by going to Matt Hutchinson from Team NHS. Matt, can you tell us what's the most disgusting science/medical thing that you have ever personally seen?
Yeah, well, I'd say it's probably an amalgam of everything I've ever seen in vascular surgery. Vascular surgery is disgusting on every level. Everyone's got leg ulcers, so they look like they're out of a zombie film. Then those ulcers smell the more bandages you take off. And the pièce de résistance was the time I had to assist in surgery. Like, this is why I'm not a surgeon, by the way, when I had to assist in the severing of a person's leg with one of those weird Bear Grylls saws, like a little string saw. And the release of tension as someone's leg comes off is something I will take to my grave. So yeah. So
Round of applause for Matt Hutchinson, please. I knew it would get intense straight away. This question, cheapers.
Was it like a cheese knife?
Yeah, that's what
like a long. So I don't know. This is how un-outdoorsy I am. I don't really know the name of the type of saw, but it's one of those really long. Yeah, like a long sort of bit of wire that's got a serrated edge. Was the thing that finally took the leg off.
But they
started with other things. They were like axe.
Yeah. I mean, I've assisted with a leg amputation as well. And
Whoa!
It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It was so inspiring. As soon as the leg was off, they were like, pass it down to Charlotte. She can have a look. And
that's a point for Shah.
It was incredible. The sciatic nerve, like pushing back the skin, using that weird necklace chainsaw thing and the give and the snap. It was just incredible. And the patient was much better off without their leg because it was causing lots of problems. But I totally disagree. Like,
I'm so glad that I clicked this is not suitable for children on YouTube.
I'm sticking with gross.
Fucking hell, right. Good.
I feel like that release of tension must have been really satisfying.
I don't want to hear the phrase release of tension this fucking round again. It's just, no. We're going to go to Belle next. Belle, you're representing Team Disgusting Planet Festival. Tell us, what is the most disgusting science/medical thing you have ever personally seen, Belle?
Well, I want to preface this by saying that Charlotte and I's literal shtick is that the disgusting is beautiful. So I'm horrified at this question in general.
Point off Belle's team for questioning the question.
And I'm
question that I wrote specially for them. That point is off for just ingratitude. Belle, what's your answer?
I wrote huge disadvantage anyway because I'm not a biologist, so I've not had like gross experiments as part of my training. I'm a chemist, so I like clean things, not like horrible, moldy, animal-y stuff. So that being said, I don't have very many examples, but I did leave a bowl of pancake mixture in the back of the fridge the other day. And if you've ever left a bowl of batter accidentally in the fridge for 2 weeks, you'll know it's absolutely fucking rank. And why it's sciencey is it really reminded me of that Brainiac episode when Richard Hammond bounced on custard, because it was just like that, except it was curdled and had a really fucking gross lid on it. So also taught geography, like tectonic plates. But disgusting. Also, I once saw a human poo on a bus.
How do you know it was human?
Let's do a quick round for extra points. Where's the weirdest place you've seen a human poo? Everybody go.
On a bus.
Yeah, you got a point for that already.
In a beautiful Welsh valley with the sun shining through onto it perfectly.
Perfect point for Shah.
In a bath.
Your bath?
On a
my
park
parents'
bench.
house. I was 3.
Stuck to my own ankle.
We had a phantom shower shitter at university.
Point for
Stuck to
Belle.
your ankle, as in you stood in it.
No, my brother pooed and then it ended up on my ankle.
Yeah, where's the worst place? Where have you seen a human shit?
On our doorstep.
The one I always go to is I went to visit Birmingham, and at 4 p.m. on a Friday, there was a human shit on the steps of the town hall.
I was about to say, what about Birmingham makes you, can associate it with human shit?
I just saw it and I thought, this is the most Birmingham thing that's ever happened. Right, let's move on. Belle, I mean, I wrote the question wide, so you could have, the most disgusting science thing, you could have just gone with the behavior of male chemists.
I know, I could have.
Think of the points you would have racked up. All you had was like, because if you actually make pancake batter and leave it for a couple of days, you get semi-fermented pancake batter that is delicious.
I mean, leave it an extra 10 days though, and it just
extra
becomes
10
like the
days.
horrors of the gods.
Let's have a big round of applause about Taylor. Sometimes I remember rounds of applause, sometimes I don't. That's just my way. And we're going to move over to Kip Heath. Kip, what is the most disgusting science/medical thing you have ever personally seen?
So I was going to go with the time I saw a GI consultant slip over on a slice of colon, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. But I didn't actually think anyone would believe me. So I'm going to go for COVID specific, because why not? And as someone who has spent their entire life dealing with body parts and wearing PPE, I think I'm gaining a little bit of PTSD from the sheer terrible processes that are going on in public transport. But there was a guy at Marylebone Station who had his mask around his chin and was licking the remnants of his croissant off his gloves. And I haven't quite got that out of my head. It's revolting.
That was me.
Delicious croissant crumbs.
Gloved hands.
Have any of you ever seen anyone actually slip on a banana skin?
I have.
As well, yeah. Where was yours, Shah? Come on, tell us.
It was outside. It was Wimbledon Centre Court, not the tennis, the shopping centre.
I'm pretty sure I've done it before.
Mine was in my local branch of Iceland, which has a very, very shiny floor. And there was a largish person stood, slipped, and everyone was really concerned and running over to help them until we all saw what had happened. And then laughter burst out amongst everyone who was trying to help, because it's like, you literally slipped on a banana skin. This is the funniest thing we've ever seen.
I'm suspicious of this story. I don't think Steve shops in Iceland.
Yeah, definitely not.
Don't
He's
buy
a
it.
Waitrose man.
There's no Waitrose for miles. How would I shop in Waitrose?
Where have you moved to, Steve? Are you all right?
Had a Waitrose.
I've moved to 100 meters from the North Circular.
Damn. Don't even know where that is.
Having kids does ruin your life, doesn't it?
No, I've got this giant shed I can record episodes in now. Right, let's move on. We've got one more answer. Oh, round of applause for Kip, because that was proper gross. Right, let's hear from, and I've kept her for last because that's how anticipation works. Can we please hear from our disgusting planets? Charlotte Mykura, what's the most disgusting science/medical thing you've ever personally seen?
Well, it's quite a difficult question to answer because I find disgusting things beautiful. Obviously, like rotting flesh, decaying carcass. Once I was assisting with this lady and like a vascular situation as well. Part of her foot fell off. I was just like, I'll just pick that up then and just transfer that to a bin. Lots of really foul things have come across me. I remember once I saw a seagull attempting to eat a used condom. From the open end, choking on it like whilst trying to swallow this condom. It was amazing.
Poetry.
The difference is where you see poo, I see a beautiful bacterial community, and where you see a decaying hedgehog carcass, I see a learning opportunity. But once I took it one step too far in my lab, because I used to culture whatever I wanted. If it grew, I'm culturing it, and I don't know what it was to this day. But I've been culturing it for months, and I took it out and it looked like someone had taken sort of human tissue. It looked like, a bit like sort of period blood. I don't know if anyone's ever menstruated and lost a whole sheet of tissue from their vagina. Mixture of that and like aortas and fungus, and someone had stamped on it into this delicious 3D mat. And it was bubbling, and it was like, sort of crispy as well. And I scooped it out of the jar, and I felt myself go like I was going to pass out. That was how skank this thing was. And then I was like, no, Charlotte, it's alive and it is beautiful, and you will take care of it. And I turned it over in my hands, and it was gorgeous. But then I did have to incinerate it, unfortunately. And you know what is really disgusting? Is that Alexander Fleming, with his stupid fucking accidental fungus discovery, which he's famous for now, I made something beautiful too, and everyone's just ignored me, and I was forced to incinerate it. So that's also disgusting.
Please, a round of applause for Charlotte Mykura. I'd just like to, for anyone going back in the Zoom, Charlotte did use the phrase, quite a lot of really gross things have come across me. Really on in that answer. And I just thought I'd draw attention to that fact. Now, apparently, because of the magical way that Zoom works, not all of my dings are audible to Sarah. So what I'm going to do now is, when you get a point, the drumstick will appear in shot. Because it's not quite working. But now the podcast, people will be like, when have they got points? But that will stop those people in the podcast trying to count back the points, and that'll be fine. Good. Right, massive round of applause for all our teams. And we're going to go to Sarah Jones and find out how many dings were audible for each team.
So for Team Yeti Da or NHS, we've got now points.
Now.
That's 9. It's not. They've got them now. It's just a bad language. And
That's a lot of inaudible points. Good. Let's hope that's reflected in the inaudibleness of our Disgusting Planets teams.
the team Achavi, or Team Disgusting Planet, we've got big points.
Right, there we go. The inaudible points have not ruined the game so far. Maybe I just... Yeah, no, I won't drumstick. I'll be like, that's a point, okay?
Sarah's got to kind of keep her eyes
If
trained
you
on
see that, you see that, that's the point. Right, good. And now the people on YouTube have to watch really closely. It's very exciting, this. Right, let's move on to our second round. Our second round is the Great Lists of Science. I'm going to give all of our players the title of a PowerPoint slide, and I want them to tell me the bullet points that would be on that PowerPoint slide. You shout out whenever you've got a good one. I will do the flashy thing to tell you you've got a point, and we'll go from there. So the first list I've got for you is things you would not like to find washed up on the beach.
a used tampon.
There's one for Belle there.
Medical records from a previous episode of Malpractice of mine.
The mauled remains of David Attenborough.
Human
Fart.
feces.
Oh,
Sorry.
A
go.
lobster that could speak English and tell us how much pain it causes them when you put them in water.
Oh yeah, 2 for that one.
A poo that you tried to do on the sly whilst you were swimming in the sea that has now resurfaced.
That's only a you problem, Shah.
A message in a bottle reviewing my comedy.
mine was a late night text message in a bottle.
Even
An
better
acquaint-
now because we're imagining what Belle's late night text messages are like.
Too many doors.
An acquaintance, someone you just slightly know but don't know well enough to actually have a proper conversation with.
A horse.
A single floating genital wart.
That's not possible. Kip, save Shah.
My own butt.
The rest of the floating genital warts.
Thank you.
Concrete evidence that 5G conspiracies are actually real, and I'd have to climb down.
A fart perfectly encapsulated in a dead jellyfish.
Another message in a bottle. This time it's a love letter from your parents 40 years ago to one another.
A used sanitary towel stuck on the back of a decaying whale.
Bear Grylls living in the whale.
Yeah, or the same whale,
What's the
but with the
point for Bear
tampons.
Grylls?
Yeah.
Like live, just him coming out the beach. You'd be like,
A whale, but
this course up your ass, mate.
A whale, but this time the tampon's stuck in the blowhole, and that's how you know he's suffocated.
This poor whale. Stop hurting this poor whale.
A hermit crab living in a moon cup.
That's not gross.
Oh, that's sweet.
You can have a point for it.
James Blunt. That would be unfortunate.
He's got quite good chat. His Twitter account is great. My
Shame about
doppelganger, just slightly older than me and dead for no reason.
Right, let's move on to the next one. Tell me, friends, what things do scientists do on their summer holidays?
Really drunk.
Yeah.
There's no point for that, though.
DNA test the bed in hotels.
Thank you. That's a point.
Yeah, drive Uber because they don't get paid properly.
Oh, yeah.
Have affairs with foreign PhD students.
Yeah. Make
Yeah.
I
other
don't
holidays.
approve of that sort of thing. I don't know if I can point it. It
Yeah.
has to be a kind of point, but with an asterisk saying we don't approve of this sort of thing.
Okay.
How about make other holiday makers feel uncomfortable?
Yes, 2 for that.
Have wild, filthy sex in the cold room. I'm assuming they haven't left the lab. They're still there.
Yeah.
They don't have holidays.
Now, Shah, of everyone I know, you're the person who's likely to have done that. Doesn't the sweat get really, really, really cold and horrible?
I like it. It's refreshing, especially if it's really hot. The problem is that somehow scents, smells are they're enhanced in there. Like I think it's because there's so much moisture in the air. Like the slightest smell is amplified. It's a good place to go to fart for that reason.
Okay, I
a
turn
bad
to the
place
rest
have
of our
sex.
panel. Do we have any cold room shaggers here?
I don't know what a cold room is.
Yeah, I'm not a real scientist.
It's a really big fridge.
So
Okay.
yeah, think about the words. A
I
room
mean,
that's cold. Right? It's not like the hot lab, which is not
yes.
hot. It's
Yes.
radioactive.
mhm.
But the cold room is just cold.
Mm.
We had a cold room where the emergency exit did not work. So you could get very easily stuck and it leaked. So it was an ice rink.
Yeah,
Wow.
they get really stiff, those things that you have to punch, and you end up having to do a run up and smashing it with your body.
Is that another
Yeah, it was
story?
a health and
from the
safety
Yeah, that
law
college?
was just a man again,
Yeah.
isn't it? They get really stiff, the things you have to punch. Right. Have we got any more things scientists do on their summer holidays?
Yeah.
Accurately document other people having fun, just in the lab book.
Yeah, one for
Spend the
that.
whole holiday designing the perfect sandcastle.
Yeah, one for that. It's more engineers, but I'll take it.
Risk
Flip
assess the
both-
airport.
Yes.
Test the meals for bacteria.
Pip already kind
You
of
don't
did
want to
that.
do that.
Sniff methylated spirits in the empty lab.
Yes.
Flick bogeys at other people's experiments.
No. No.
Use the opportunity to steal glassware.
Yes, absolutely. Lab glassware is amazing. You can
Oh,
microwave
so good.
cleaning it. Yeah.
Oh, quality. Pick filth from their own vaginas and then examine it under the microscope in the lab.
Why is that scientists? That's
I'm sure they do it. I'm a scientist. This is
you're a medical student. Your levels of like what is okay have like fallen even from SHAR standards, because SHAR plus a medical student, because the average medical student is as gross as you are anyway. Now you've just got to double down.
Yeah.
Have you dissected any dead bodies yet?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a look. I've dabbled.
Just a point for SHAR for being on brand. Any more things scientists do on their summer holidays?
Put up loads of passive-aggressive post-it notes in the lab.
Yes.
Descale the kettle.
Calibrate the pH meter.
Answer emails on the beach.
Hide.
Take everyone else's pipettes and destroy their calibration.
Yeah, I mean, decalibrate all the way. Right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our third question, which is a nice, simple one. Where the hell have I left my keys?
In the bowl at that party.
Yeah.
Back in 2015, along with your anal sphincter tone and your dignity.
Up my boyfriend's bum.
Yeah, one for Belle. I don't know how my keys got there, but
At the back of the cold room.
yeah.
In the
Oh my
stomach
God.
of a pet llama.
Yeah.
In the door.
Yes. 2 for that.
In your second best handbag. It's a classic.
Yeah. On that lame chain hanging off your belt loop.
Yes.
With all the hair grips that I can't find.
Yes.
Top pocket of your lab coat.
Yes.
I've written in my dead cat's coffin.
In your other Ferrari.
No.
What kind of scientist are you?
No one says this person's a scientist. This is
Well, it was
Steve.
me. Because can you tell what had happened when I was writing the questions? It's like,
Seems
damn, I
like the
need a
type of guy
question.
to have a Ferrari.
The last place you looked.
Absolutely.
Smart.
In your
sounds like.
second Ferrari.
People who fucking say that. Oh, when you lose your keys and someone goes, where did you last see them? It's like, oh, I'd never thought of going through that thought process. Before
Yeah.
I asked you if you'd seen them.
So, in fact, they're in the neck of the last person who said that thing to you.
My
The
partner,
fridge.
when you say, have you seen the so-and-so? She says, no. But then she says this brilliantly reassuring phrase. Well, it must be somewhere.
Yeah. But then is it? Is it?
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Is
just
it
some
somewhere?
words. That's not helping me. You could have just not said those words, saved a half a calorie, saved
might-
me 50 calories of seething hatred.
My boyfriend does the opposite. I'm like, have you seen them? And he's like, no, I guess that's it. They're gone. That's it. You know.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just order some more on Amazon, whatever it was.
Is your boyfriend also a medical student?
Yeah.
That's a defeatist attitude to have this early, surely. In your... It's like, I guess they're gone. It's like, I mean, they're fine. Just a bit of resuscitation. No, they're gone.
They're being looked after by 2 medical students. They're already dead.
Mean.
Amazing. Right, that's the end of round 2. Let's big round of applause for all the teams. Let's go over to Jones the maths, who's doing some very quick maths. It takes her slightly longer to do maths because she has to do it in 2 languages. Because she only knows the odd numbers in English and she only knows the even numbers in Welsh, so it makes maths quite complicated. Let's go over to Jones. Jones, how are the teams doing now?
Well, luckily for me, they're both on even numbers, so I can do them both in the same language. We've got Team Iechyd or Team NHS on 3 Dig.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Nice recovery there. And we've got team Achavi on Treaty Die.
This is
With
bullshit.
asterisks of,
It's all to play for.
No, wait,
One
that
of the
wasn't-
variables in this game is whether Sarah
Strongest
notices.
students. Was that it?
Sorry?
What's the asterisk for?
I don't remember.
There was 1 point you asterisked. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was
That's
something
what-
to do with having sex with foreign PhD students, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was we don't approve. Yeah.
Yes.
We're not like the sort of science podcast that's like, yes, mate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let's have sex.
Which science
You get
podcast
the
is
point, but
that?
MB.
The thing is, Matt, senior scientists are very litigious. So we tend not to talk about it and publicly. You have to join the secret Slack group of people that run science gigs,
Is that Patreon content?
saying to each other, don't fucking with that guy. He's a mega.
Who's Steve slandering this week? Pay £3 a month and you can
slander.
find out.
Don't give Steve ideas.
You've got, yeah, I should do that. The like
Exactly.
$100 a month science show off Patreon is just I actually tell you what living
Here's my little black book.
like. Yeah, not the nice ones. Yeah, the nicest scientist. Here we go. Nicest scientist in Britain, because we'll get away from terrible hard things. Is good old Martin Rees, astronomer royal, professor, lord, all this nonsense. I was doing an event at Wilderness, this festival that is attended by entirely white people from Oxfordshire, as far as I could tell. I went round and counted, and there were more places selling pulled pork than there were people of colour at Wilderness that particular year. And he came into our tent, and no one else knew who he was. He was just this old man coming in the tent, but I knew who he was because I'd booked him in the past. And I said, Martin, because I don't use titles. I said, Martin, it's lovely to see you. You're on in about 45 minutes. And he said, do you know where I can get a cup of tea? And I said, oh, I'll go and get you a cup of tea. And he said, no, that's not your job. I'll go and get myself a cup of tea. And like, when is the last time a Lord Professor FRS has said to anybody more junior than them, no, don't get me a cup of tea. That's not your job. You've got more
That's really
important
nice.
to do. It's like, yeah, I've got to back announce the quiz. A round of applause for the quiz. Now in 10 minutes, Martin Rees. That was the more important thing I had to do. He's so brilliant. I cannot sing his praises enough. I tell that story every time I perform at the Royal Society, just to be like, there is one nice FRS, despite all the ones we've met.
That's lovely.
Let's move on. Round 3, friends. We're going to go in the reverse order that we went for round 1. So we're going to start with Charlotte Mykura from Planet Disgusting. Charlotte, if you could change one thing about your body, what would you change and why?
So, first of all, I think all bodies are perfect, even when they malfunction. But so
Sarah, that's another point off Planet Disgust for
sorry,
undermining the
sorry.
question.
I'm sorry, Steve. Your question's perfect. But so I don't have a spleen, so I was thinking maybe that, or one of my feet slightly bigger than the other.
Ding.
Maybe that.
Ding.
My pube transition line isn't very clear, but you know what
Ding.
it is.
Wait, is that a thing that's really big in 2020? A really clear pube transition?
I just want it to go from bald to hairy. I don't
Right,
want
okay.
any faffing about. I just want to.
You don't want like a ramp building up.
Yeah.
You want it to be more like a cliff of pubes.
But my main thing
Like
recently,
Drake's hairline. Sorry.
is really
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just get some tattooed on. Anyway, right, go on.
stuck on.
Oh.
Is that recently? So I used to have really, really good reverberative farts that really like loud and
Ding.
punchy that you would back yourself onto and make a really loud noise. And recently
Ding.
they've gone really quiet, like. And I love singing the song. Listen to this. It's too good to miss. Na 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 na. And now it's like,
Ding.
listen to this. It's too good to miss. Na 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 na. And it's just my bumhole is not making the loud noises. And I
think 3 more dings on that one.
I was genuinely going to go at the beginning of lockdown, was genuinely going to go to the doctor and say, my farts are really
2 more
quiet
points for that.
and they're not making the loud reverberative noise. They're just blowing gently in this really shit kind of weak way. And I want back my punchy, aggressive farts that I once held so proudly in my rectum.
Amazing round of applause for Charlotte Mykura, please. Matt, I'll give you 2 points if you can diagnose what's wrong with her.
Becoming a medical student, eating far worse than you would have done in the past, and also it's the sense of smugness that pushes out the farts. So you know they're coming out
Amazing.
more quickly.
2 points for Matt there then. Excellent bit of diagnosis, Dr. Hutchinson.
Fabulous.
Is a quiet fart quick or slow though, Matt?
A quiet fart's probably quicker. It's just going out like a sort of like a sniper rifle.
Oh,
I get the
I
impression
thought- I
those
would've thought
showers are
loud
going
farts
out
was
like,
quick.
yeah, like you're breathing through a straw. Like
Yeah, maybe I'm just not pressing hard enough.
they're like Sarah Jones using her asthma inhaler.
Maybe you need to save up the fart, Shah.
Yeah, maybe I'm being too,
Oh, the other thing
forthcoming.
I would say is that I think sometimes it's being in a hospital, because in a hospital you get quite lax. You can fart wherever you want, blame it on an old person.
Yeah.
So maybe you're not storing them as much.
Wait for Matt. Right, let's move on before Matt racks up loads of points on somebody else's go. We're going to turn to Kip Heath, the very much the virologist of the moment in 2020. She's very much hoping that the next pandemic won't be bacterial, thus making her less important.
I
Kip,
can multitask.
if you could change one thing about your body, what would you change and why?
I would change my shoulder blades because I want wings.
Yes.
Because then I can fly to work, which means I avoid the tube, which is a win in every sense, and allows me to social distance. And then I can drop things on people that I don't like because I'm super antisocial.
Amazing. But you, like, as an NHS worker, do you get to get on the tube and just be like, all you other fuckers need to get off? This is my tube. I'm the
I got
key
a
worker.
specific train. I had a special train. I complained to the train company that they cancelled everything from my stop and they put a new one on for me. Not on the
Yes.
timetable, not on the board. Personalised train service.
Fuck.
Oh my.
Just 3 points for power. I know. Matt's like, fucking, I want one and I want it gold.
Exactly.
Thanks
plated.
for the privilege.
I've now seen what can be achieved. This
Yeah.
is
Oh yeah.
That's how you use your COVID hero. Like, you thought you could only use your COVID hero status to get laid like crazy after lockdown ends. Because it's going to be, if you're an NHS worker, scrubs in the clubs. That's all the people that want to say thanks to the key workers. Scrubs in the clubs, everyone gets laid. That's why, I don't know if you heard, but petty criminals have been stealing NHS IDs
yes, that was
Just to
they
get
put an
laid.
email out at work.
just to get laid after this all ends.
Is that really why?
They should
No,
Use
Belle,
the
it
wedding
isn't,
ring.
it isn't really why. I'm a professional comedian, not a journalist. And definitely not a police investigator. Right. Kip, that was a wonderful answer. Thank you so much. We're going to go to Belle Taylor now. Belle, all the way from Scotland, where everything is very different. Tell us, what, if you could change one bit of your body, what would you change and why?
Okay, well, so firstly, I've got medically diagnosed winged shoulder blades. 'Cause-
Ding, ding, for totally undermining Kip there.
No, this leads into
fly,
the
though?
question. This leads into my answer. So I'm hypermobile, which means I've got really loose joints. So what I would change about my body is that I would make my joints more stiff, if that's possible.
2 points for that one.
So all my joints move further than they should, which sounds great and quite heroic and also quite kinky until I attempt to do anything vigorous. And I count in that my trip to the supermarket and the subsequent holding of the shopping bags up the stairs because I'm in pain for days afterwards.
Ding.
It's fucking horrible. But last year about this time last year, I went on a trampoline, and trampolines are now, I realize, really dangerous for me. And that's because of my joints. So I went on one and I did some things I shouldn't have done. And I'm still recovering from it now, a year later.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Belle, can I ask you some very ignorant questions?
You may.
So, if you don't focus, do you just like collapse into a pile of bones on the floor?
Yeah, I'm constly clenching.
Are you like Constable Odo in
My
Star
pelvic
Trek
floor
Deep
is
Space Nine?
Wow.
phenomenal.
Amazing.
It's a
Amazing.
bit like Ames in X-Files. You can sort of get into a duct and just crawl from there.
Yeah, that's
place to
what they
place.
are. It's just hypermobility and you just collapse in it.
Yeah.
I think we've confused hypermobile and shape changer again. haven't we?
In X-Files, he pops himself. He just dislocates his shoulder blades and gets into the air ducts.
And you can pack yourself in a suitcase as well, which is handy.
Yeah.
What?
Those flights.
I can't, but there's time.
Have you tried?
We could get.
Try
I've
that.
I'm
had
sure
3
if-
months of lockdown and I haven't yet attempted to lock myself in a suitcase.
I'd like to thank the people in the YouTube thread who are saying old school reference there, Matt. Yeah, X-Files. Matt, how are you old enough to have seen X-Files?
I moisturise.
Fine. I just assumed you were younger than me, and I am a bit young for X-Files. Right. Belle, brilliant answer. Right. Have we heard? No, we haven't heard from Matt yet. This is the person we want to hear from.
I
So
think you're
Matt,
setting up too high at the moment.
no. We
We
want
need
to understand,
points.
because like everyone else is coming from a position of normal humanity, but you're on this giant pedestal that you built for yourself that everyone else doesn't really agree you ought to be on. But you know,
What
you're
pedestal?
coming
This
from
is
the
projection, Steve.
the Hutchinson pedestal. I know you've used the family's fortune to build and you stand on top of. So I want to know.
Let me clarify. My father was an academic. He's not rich.
Born into the game, eh? Born.
Matt,
Exactly,
you've got
exactly.
a vertical radiator.
I mean,
Yeah,
so in
look at
terms
the
of-
radiator.
all of my privilege is sort of educational nepotism.
The mouth.
You know,
The
my
mouth
father was an
is
academic. My father was an academic at the university I went to, but he wasn't rich.
I'm glad I quit academia. I want to be rich.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah,
I know.
anyway.
You can get rich easy, Shah. Go to Matt's house, steal that radiator.
Yeah,
Sell it for
exactly. It sets you back.
I mean, look at it. It's incredible. Or it's small and Matt is tiny. Anyway,
Yeah. Exactly.
what was I going to
That's
say?
true.
Matt, tell us. If you could change one thing about your body, what would you change and why?
Well, me being tiny filters into it quite nicely. Mine's an obvious choice, but very much like the song, I wish I was a little bit taller.
Yes, ding.
So I could, in fact, be a baller. Just one, because, being taller, you can be good at basketball just through being able to put a ball in a hoop just by dropping it. But otherwise, also, have you not noticed that tall people make you work far less hard with your personality?
Yes.
Like, people just get lost in your height and really expect very little else from you.
Yeah, I mean, we're all thinking of Lucy Eckersley now, let's be honest.
I mean, that wasn't, this is not targeted at anyone in particular. This is more just my own internal gripe. But also, people are grateful when you get things off shelves for them.
Yeah.
Gigs, suddenly, I mean, if I were still young and cool enough to go to gigs, I'm sure I would enjoy them more. In fact, I'm sure I'd still be going to gigs if I were taller, because they'd be less painful to go to. You can wear cooler coats as well. Like, every dickhead that saw The Matrix and thought they looked cool didn't, because they weren't 6'5".
Yes.
If you were tall, you can wear a long duster.
Yeah,
wear
people
ground.
just looked like they were going to do the Columbine massacre.
Yeah,
rather
exactly.
than
I mean, it's
like
a
they
very
were in the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. That really, and finally as well, I think one of the bonuses of being taller is you would also get a bigger liver out of it as well.
Nice.
Like,
more
living,
for that.
living with double liver. I mean, like, I can't handle hangovers at the best of times. Like, I had a hangover last Friday that lasted till this Monday.
So, Matt, can I ask you, how tall are you in
How tall am
imperial
I?
units?
I mean, are we talking about Tinder profile, or are we talking about real life?
Just be honest with all of us, be real for a minute. 'Cause you're
I'm
not on Tinder,
somewhere in the
your
region
partner
of
owns the
5,
house.
somewhere in the region of 5'8".
5'8". And how tall would you like to be?
I mean, it's a good question, but I think for some of the benefits I've described, maybe 6'3", 6'4".
Okay, so you're not out there just put it in. You're not doing the full Boban Marjanovic 7'8". Just put it in the basket with the feet.
No,
still
because
on
I
the
think that
ground.
would have downsides. I mean, they look ridiculous in suits.
Well,
the
he
sort of
looked quite good
post-game.
in John Wick 3, Parabellum, the guest appearance by Boban Marjanovic. I thought he did quite well. That's just for all of the hardcore, brainless action movie / NBA basketball fans, which I'm assuming is nobody in our entire demographic, apart from me. But I was just watching it, and I shouted upstairs and woke the kids up. Boban's in John Wick 3.
Did you know that Karim Abdul-Jabbar is now a reporter for The Hollywood Reporter?
Yeah.
Who are
Well,
you talking
he's
about?
like a philosopher. He finished his degree and all this stuff.
I know. I learned this today.
He was in, was it Fist of Fury or Enter the Dragon? He's in. It's in
He's
one
in
of
probably Fist of Fury, not Into the Dragon.
Right, there we go. Right, let's move on. Have we heard from everybody in this round? Yes, let's have a round of applause for everybody. And let's go to Jones, the scores. Sorry for the slightly awkward way we're scoring due to me buying a new computer and not having set up the magic ding box yet. Sarah.
Before I finalise the scores, I would like to query something, Ari, the asthma fart analogy, which is, where does a spacer come into it?
It means you inhale the fart more efficiently.
I mean, Shah, if you got a spacer, you could fart into it, seal the back, carry it over.
And then
Or, fart into it, then put an inhaler on it.
collect them.
If it was your partner's one, hand it to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my inhaler, I need that." Click, and inhale a massive fart.
You just invented a whole new stream of bullying for kids with asthma at school.
You could even collect them. You could collect each of your farts, bung it, and save it until you had access to a spacer. Plug it in. It would be perfect. Oh, what a
Thanks.
lovely idea.
Thanks for the
It'll
world
be a-
that we all now live in, friends.
Yeah, putting the ass in asthma is Steve Cross.
Nice.
Sarah Jones, tell me, what are the scores?
So luckily, the scores are both odd in this round, so we can do it in English. For Team Disgusting, we've got 51 points.
Oh,
And, for once, the NHS isn't underfunded if you can budget based on points, because Team NHS has 55 points.
running away with it at the moment. 4 points in the lead, the NHS. There's one more question to go. So this final question, we're going to let the NHS go last. So we'll start with Team Our Disgusting Planet. Teams, this is the bonus round because we've got a bit of time. We'll do the bonus question. The bonus question is, which chemical element would you like to take out for a couple of drinks and why? And first of all, I am going to come to Belle Taylor from Our Disgusting Planet. Belle, you nearly got a PhD in chemistry, so you should be expert. Which chemical element would you like to take out for a couple of drinks and why?
All right, so I'd take an alkali metal out, because the second it had a sip of anything water-based, it will go fucking mental. I just think if you sat Frankium down, you could just watch it get just gradually like more off its tits as the night progressed, which would be great. I also actually think that alkali metals in general would be a great way to do any sort of arson. So if you were to, for example, want to like blow up a lab or something, you just hide little bits of alkali metal just around the shelves, and then you just shove a hose through the window and then just turn it on from a distance. And
Are you answering a different question now? How would you
I've
blow
often
up a
thought-
lab and get away with it? What have you
I've
been?
often thought about it, that's all.
Was this part of why you didn't finish your PhD? You burned the lab down.
It was a whole Guy Fawkes thing. We don't talk about it. But yes, an alkali metal, because it would go just absolutely nuts.
Amazing. Round of applause for Belle Taylor, please. I mean, you would have got a lot more points if you'd chosen an alkali metal.
Frankium. I said Frankium. Did I
I
not?
know you did, but you did once, but you were just very non-specific at the
I would
start.
take Frankium. Plus,
You on Tinder,
a sexy name.
which of the 6 people I rearranged to meet now are you? Oh, Frank. Yeah, come on then, Frank.
Yeah.
Let's move
How
on.
about choosing the dates?
We're going to fly over to the virology lab, and we're going to find out from Kip Heath. Kip, which element would you like to take out for a couple of drinks and why?
So I'm super antisocial, which is why it looks a little bit like I'm copying Belle, and I'm going for
4
cesium.
points for that straight away.
Because either it would explode or I get all the drinks to myself because it won't touch them. So it's kind of a win-win, really.
Absolutely brilliant. Right, that's a perfect answer. Perfect
I mean,
answer.
off the same thing that you said, I didn't get points for not naming one. I didn't hear an element there.
It's cesium.
Cesium. Can we have another point for the NHS
Sabotage.
for Belle being fucking deaf? Apparently.
Just to fund the audiology department.
Yeah, that's so. Teams,
We need money from anywhere.
if you're going to try and quibble the scoring or the other teams, you better actually have a leg to stand on. Otherwise, you're going to lose.
I didn't hear.
You will lose all the points. No, I like the idea. Belle's just turned around, booted it in her own goal, and gone, "Oh, I thought it was the opposition's goal."
Sorry, Shah.
No, let's fly over to Swansea now. Oh, we're going back in time to 1986. Welcome to Swansea. And we're going to find out from Charlotte Mykura, which chemical element would you like to take out for a couple of drinks and why?
So, as a biologist, and an aspiring doctor, I would like to take out magnesium. Firstly, because it's incredibly sexy. It has 2 electrons ready to give to me, which I would accept with gratitude. But also, I just want to ask magnesium what the actual fuck it is doing in life. Because like sodium, potassium, chloride, we all kind of, they do stuff in cells, you know, they do sensible things.
A well-known element, chloride, yes.
Yeah. I'm not a chemist.
Point for me, I think, on that one.
They all do important things that we understand, like depolarizing cells and all sorts of shenanigans. But magnesium is really important, and I don't know what the fuck it does. So, like,
Helps you hang on to potassium.
2 points for Shah's own ignorance. 1 point for Matt for actually knowing the answer.
But magnesium, if you eat it, it gives you diarrhea. But you also give it to people with severe asthma, and you also give it to people with a French heartbeat to help them get rid of their French heartbeat. So,
Right. Stop. Rewind. French heartbeat. Tell me. Ooh la. What is it? What's a French heartbeat?
So basically, it's when I've called it French because it's called. I don't speak
Are
French.
you referring to Torsade de Pointe?
Torsade de Pointes. How do you say
Good
it?
point for pedantry from Matt.
Go on, Matt. Say it again.
Torsade de Pointe.
Torsade de
twist.
Pointe?
Torsade. So it's I think it's French roughly for twisting of the points or
Yeah,
about the
twisting of
points.
the points.
Because it's a
Twisted
broad,
bread, yeah.
complex
Torsade de
tachycardia that
Pointe.
moves up and down around a linear baseline across the middle.
Wow.
Charlotte, did you make up the term a French heartbeat?
I mean, it's
It's
called
not in the
something
textbook.
French.
Just a point for making it up. I love that.
It's called something French. It's French.
I knew what she was talking about. To be fair, if you'd said someone's come in, like if I was in A&E and she said, we've got a French heartbeat, I would know what she was talking about.
And I know to give them magnesium, but I don't know why. So magnesium basically is a total maverick, and it needs to explain itself. And I love talkers, so I would love to go on a date with magnesium.
Amazing. Plus, if it all went very badly wrong, you just set fire to them. And they're gone.
Yeah.
Might set off the thermite reaction, though. Right, let's take our final answer in this round. We're going to go over to the person who apparently is now Shah's lecturer, giving her all the real medical facts. Dr. Can we just go back? Can you take another point off Charlotte for using the term doctor?
I knew you were going to take that away as I was saying it. I was like, Brain, why are you doing this?
Yeah. And now we'll go over to Dr. Matt Hutchinson. Matt, which chemical element would you like to take out for a couple of drinks and why?
So sticking to a theme, if you're going for a couple of drinks with someone, you want them to be able to hold their drink.
Yeah.
So I would drink with liver morium because it sounds like it's got more liver.
Is this a real one?
Yeah, liver morium's a real element.
What number is it?
Somewhere in the hundreds, 116.
I've got my periodic table
Made up
open.
those ones.
I'll Google it.
I mean, I'm not a chemist, so I definitely looked at the periodic table
Yeah,
today.
it is a real one. 116.
Yeah.
It's synthetic.
Oh, mine only
Oh,
goes
I
up
think
to
it's
100.
named
lab.
after Livermore. It's
Exactly.
in the tradition of naming after like Americas and California.
Right, so
I mean-
that's fine. Like, a point for that, but 2 points off for choosing something that is only in the lab and never observed in nature. Because that means you're going to have to go and have a drink in the lab.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's underexplored. People don't know much about it. I want to go and
Hey,
find
point
out
for
more
that.
about it.
Yeah.
I think it's got more to say. It's not going to be too. I think some of the other elements would be quite brash, quite full of themselves. They've had the limelight for quite some time.
Well, and
This
it's the old thing of dating, isn't it? Find the person that there isn't a lot of competition for, but you think might have potential. Find yourself a developer.
Yeah.
That you can really build up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be in at the ground level, being the archetypical hipster. I was into livermorium before anyone else knew about it. It's very much on brand for me.
Amazing. Right. Can we have a big round of applause for all of our players, please? We'll fix the dings for next week. Now we're going to go over to Sarah Jones, and Sarah is going to reveal to us the final scores. This is a huge moment of excitement. Sarah.
Well, we've got coming in Team Achabi, Team Disgusting Planet.
Oh man.
Wasted Pedwar.
Oh, 64.
Yay!
5 short this time.
And in an incredible comeback for the NHS, we have got Quickly Quick. 64.
Oh! The NHS go to the top of the Premier League with a point difference of 2, putting them above last week's winners, who I've already forgotten. Oh, why aren't you a doctor yet? The NHS are heroes. Matt,
How did they score over 100 points last week?
all the dings were audible.
Technical
So is the
failure.
scoreboard done on point difference?
Point difference.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because some games are higher scoring than others, depending on how much I've had to drink, what kind of mood I'm in, whether I've slept.
I love the variability.
All that.
You've
sort
got
of
twins, you never sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I've had an hour. Maybe I slept during the day while they were at nursery. Which, by the way, is such a joy. It's just to
Aw.
take them to nursery, and they, under COVID, you can't even go in. So you can't go and help. You
No.
literally just put them at the door and you fuck off. And then when you come back, they put them at the door. You don't have to go in. You don't have to interact with anyone. You don't have to pretend you like anyone else's children. You don't have to try and remember the names of any of it. The good thing is you never have to remember parents' names because they're just called like Simon's dad. Like you don't have names anymore. But you have to try and remember their children's names. And who fucking cares? Like they've only got one child each. Right.
I like
So
Simon's old person name for a little kid.
sorry.
I feel like
Simon.
I
Simon's
just picked a name at
an
random.
old name.
Yeah, right, good. Well, let's not get into this. So friends, we've come to the end of tonight's show. I wanted to do a couple of things. First thing, do join us next week when a team from Lancaster University will be taking on a team from the Homeward Bound Women in Science Leadership Group, who all get to go to Antarctica or Arctica. Arctica, one of them. But anyway, they've all really grown as people through the experience of being cold and trapped. And I mean, they could just go to Swansea in the winter. And that's going to be really interesting. That's next week's game. I will go and update the Premier League with these scores. This show will be available on YouTube in about 3 days when I edit it. And it'll be available as a podcast when I've got about 6. And I can bang them all up really quickly and game the fucking iTunes algorithms as you have to do with a new podcast. Friends, do you have anything you want to advertise before we send all of our wonderful visitors away?
Nope.
This is the problem with no live shows. If you go, have you got anything to advertise? Everyone's like
No.
you can go on mycoffee.com and give me £2. Don't worry, I will be paying all of tonight's acts. So please, can I have one final massive round of applause for all of our teams? Winners, have you got any words for the losers?
This is what the
Shah's coming
NHS
to
is.
us.
Yeah.
Kip, you go first.
Shah's coming to our side anyway.
Right.
We're poaching.
Yeah. This is what being a doctor is truly about: crushing others. You know.
Losers, have you got any words of excuse for how shit you are?
I've humbly learnt a lot from my fantastic overlords, and we bow down to you, Almighty. But also, we really like bum holes, so we had a great time. We had a great time anyway.
Well,
I totally agree. I would have totally said the same. We're here. We're Team Pro Bum.
and Sarah, have you got anything to say to future competitors who might be tuning in?
Have I got anything to say to
Yeah.
competitors who might be tuning in? I would say ensure Steve has a working ding.
Yeah.
And also, if you have asthma medication, use your spacer so you don't get a full thrush.
Yes.
Because it is a problem.
I as an asthmatic, I got throat thrush when I was 13 and had to have a few days off school. And the all boys school I was at, I'd never heard anything so funny. How did you get thrush in your throat? Anyway, on that absolute bombshell of stories from my life, we're going to move on. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. You've all been super fun and delicious and wonderful. Teams, you've been great. Sarah, you've been brilliant. Out there in the YouTube chat land, you are all marvelous people, and we love you. We'll see you next week for 2 more teams and another massive, massive fight. Good night.
Night night.
Ah, oh.